I would like to now request Ambassador Vishnu Prakash sir to say a few words. And definitely, he needs no introduction. You must know him because he's in today's time there on one TV day, one TV debate to another. Anyway, it's always a pleasure to introduce him, and I'll take this opportunity once again. Ambassador Vishnu Prakash has served as High Commissioner to Ottawa, Ambassador to Seoul, official spokesperson of Foreign Office, and Consul General to Shanghai. He has also done postings in Moscow, New York, Tokyo, Islamabad, etc. Since retirement in November 2016, he has turned into a foreign affairs analyst and commentator with special focus on Indo-Pacific region. Sir, the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Pakhi. First of all, Dr. Pramod Jaiswal, I would like to compliment you for an excellent presentation, frank, balanced. I have enjoyed it. Vansh, you should be banned from speaking at any forum for the simple reason that you have, at your age, you have learned everything. And the things that you have to say are amazing. And somehow I think that either I got hold of your presentation or you got hold of my remarks, because you have already stolen half of my remarks, but well, I forgive you for doing that. Mr. Shashank Shukla, my dear student speakers, young friends, ladies and gentlemen. At the onset, I would like to congratulate Team Conflux Revista. Yes, you are right. TCR is easier to pronounce, but it's a great name. Paki and Isha compliments. This is a wonderful initiative to do a virtual lit festival, and I'm delighted to be invited to speak to such a wonderful group of youngsters. Okay, before that, I have been given 15 minutes and I promise I'll end at 13. Well, let me tell you a small story. A few months ago, I happened to meet at a webinar an author, a poet, an anchor, a critic, an artist, a storyteller, and a journalist. No big deal, right? But then I kept meeting this person almost everywhere and soon found that this person did not have one lazy bone in the system. And this person is in a hurry to change the world and believes that the time is running out. And this person is one third my age or even less. And because the time is running out and this person is in a hurry, this person sleeps barely 4 hours. But this person's energy is infectious. And it is that infection which has brought me here today. Don't ask me who this person is because this person cannot be named. Well, if you still have questions, let me know and I will gently disclose to you who this infection is. I would recommend that some of you are already infected, but stay away from this infection. Now, subject at hand, let me turn to the wisdom which I gained from a certain country, where it is said that if you're thinking for just 1 year, plant wheat or rice. When your horizon is 20 years, invest in forests or trees. And if you are looking at a century or a millennium, invest in youth. And what youth? One of the world leaders who was setting his nation on the path of economic development, and at that time this nation was still a developing country, called up, gave a slogan to say that every village should be connected with a road. Why? To take a girl child to school. Why a girl child? Because if you educate a girl child, you educate the family, the village, the town, the nation. You make everybody health conscious. You make everybody know the civic responsibilities. But interestingly, the other way is not true. If you educate a boy, he may or may not be as effective in educating the other half of the humanity. So it is very, very important to make sure that if you want an enlightened generation, you start with educating the girl child. I was posted in this particular country at that time and had a very important visitor. His name is Narendra Modi. He was then the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And I told him shared this anecdote with him, and he went quiet. And after 2 minutes, he said, thinking of reflecting on it for 2 minutes, he said he did not know this particular uh, anecdote, but in Gujarat, he has started doing the same. I'm taking you back many years when he was the chief minister of Gujarat, and he mentioned that at the beginning of the school year, everybody, all officials, from the block development officer to the chief minister, they fan out to villages, go door to door, persuading the family members to allow their girl child to be educated, to go to school. And they deposit a certain amount in the bank. And if the child does primary classes, primary school, 5 times that amount is given, and there's not 1 rupee which is drawn from the national exchequer because there's such a competition that volunteers are coming up. So that is empowerment as I can see it. But before I talk about the importance of youth engagement for global action, there are a couple of things I would like to touch upon. And here I echo what Vansh said, dare to dream. Dare to dream. It is very important. You will be in your teens and 20s only once in your life. Pursue your dreams and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But one thing I love sharing anecdotes, and let me share another anecdote. There was a young lady who thought that she was interested in economics and she was a 4.0 student, doing very well. Went to study in the US, her grades plummeted from 4.0 to 2.9, and the father was after her with a stick and a virtual stick, that is, don't get me wrong, and threatened that he'll pull her back, that she must be kind of wasting her time, etc., etc. She said, no, I'm not interested in economics. And there was a furore. She said, I'm interested in biology and chemistry. And, the father won't accept it. But fortunately, uh, she switched to bio and chemistry. And today she's a hotshot doctor, and this father happens to be speaking to you. So this is from first-hand knowledge that I have, and since then I've seen lots and lots of kids whose priorities evolve. Who you believe that you are interested in something, but you are not. It is not because you cannot make up your mind. It is a life journey. You believe that you are interested in something. When you experience it, you find it to be different. Please remember that only stones remain dormant. Do not be apologetic. It is natural to change your mind. Be competitive and give it your best shot, but do not strive for perfection. Perfection is the enemy of the good, as I see it. Strive for excellence, and the rest will follow. The other bit that I wanted to share was that recently at a dinner a couple of years ago, I had next to me a youngster sitting. He would be barely 26, and I said, "What are you doing?" So he said, I've retired." The penny did not drop, but after a few seconds, I thought that he said he has retired. I said, "Did you say you have retired and you're 26?" He said, "Yes, I have retired because I'm feeling burnt out. Since 20, I was working in a hedge fund, and it's about time I cannot handle it anymore." I have served in Korea and Japan and see the stress levels of kids, not just kids, but everybody, and particularly the kids. And a lot of blame goes to the parents there. I'm a parent, so I'm saying that with a sense of responsibility, because every parent wants you to be the Prime Minister of India, and there can be only one Prime Minister of India. So, this relentless pressure is something that is complicating lives. But given the high stress levels, the mental health issues which are grossly underreported afflicts at least one third of the youth. And Indians are unfortunately one of the least active nationalities with the poorest of fitness levels and was second most sleep deprived. So please make sure that, as one said, that you're a long distance runner. And last bit that I want to say is please start taking vitamin P. And if you know what vitamin P is, it's fine. If not, let me tell you, vitamin P is punctuality. In today's competitive world, your success or otherwise will hinge on whether you are you're conscious of time management. And that is something that we Indians need to learn very big time. Now, why is it important to engage youth for global action? Simple thing is that the world is shrinking very quickly and it is becoming a village, literally, because of connectivity, virtual and physical. And in this digital era in particular, what happens in one part of the world is you get to know within minutes. The world has come into our living rooms and drawing rooms. And the impact again of what happens in one part of the world radiates to others beyond the geographical boundaries. Take any major challenge, the corona pandemic, terrorism, cyber intrusions and threats, climate change, women empowerment, universal literacy, respect for multiculturalism, poverty eradication. This list is only indicative. But global challenges require global responses and a long term commitment. The first step is awareness, awareness, awareness. And the earlier the awareness happens, the better. And how the best is that it is the youth that takes gets onto this information wave, information highway, is apprised of and gets involved in these issues because the youth is more receptive, more attuned to coming up with ideas. Also, along with the challenges, there are global opportunities and best practices which need to be identified, propagated, and replicated because a new generation is emerging, the generation of global citizens, and the youth is at the forefront of this generation of global citizens. My generation is that of baby boomers. I am afraid we have done a poor job. We had poor exposure and a limited vision. Now the ball is in the court to Generation X, and Generation Y is slowly sliding into the decision making. Some of you are Generation Y, and the others of you are millennials. But the work is cut out for you. I think you are up to the challenge, seeing what you are capable of. And one thing that I would urge all of you to do is to inculcate green consciousness and also help India bring green consciousness at home. I'll close with sharing with a small anecdote. It was, I think, in 2011 when I went to Bhutan. I've handled Bhutan and Nepal affairs for a long time. But this was in 2011. As the official spokesperson, I went to, along with the Prime Minister, I went to Bhutan, and they had thousands of school kids along the road from Phunshiling from Paro to Thimphu. And as we were driving, I stopped the car because I saw something very unusual. The motorcade passed away. I went ahead, I stopped and went and saw and met the children. There were lots of children, but not a speck of litter. Bhutan, not a speck of litter on the roads. So I got talking to these kids. Some were 5, some were 7, some were 10. Each had a bag with some eats, another bag which was a garbage bag. And I said, asked them what are they doing. They explained this was a garbage bag. I got speaking to the teacher, who told me that from age 1, they are taught in schools, do not litter. And the impact is visible. I hope what we could not do, your generation can do to leave the world in a better shape for the generation to follow. God bless you. God bless Pakhi. God bless Isha. All I can say is may your tribe increase. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for throwing light on the involvement of youth in global action. It was really great having you speak on our platform.